Hey class, Absolute 5 here, and today we're going to be writing decimals as a percent. So we're continuing our third part series of writing a percent as a decimal or as a fraction. So today we're going to be specifically covering writing a decimal as a percent. All right? So keep in mind, it's very important to know this step. You have to multiply by 1 in the form of 100%. So what do I mean by that? You take 0.27, right? Let's use this example. And I want to convert it into a percent. This becomes 0.27, and I'm multiplying this by 1. I convert that 1 into 100%. And then I'm left with, remember what I told you about you have to multiply by the base of 10? So when you do that, you have to move the decimal over to the right depending on how many zeros are there. So since there's 2, 1, 2, my answer is going to be, and you keep the percent symbol. So it'll be 27% as your answer. Let's do another example. Let's say I gave you 0.65, well, you do the same thing. And instead of writing 1 first, which is an extra step, you don't have to do that. You just write 100%. You're left with 0.65. You move the decimal point over once, twice, and I get 65% as my answer. Okay? What happens if I gave you 1.25 as the example? Well, let's see. You do the same step like you did before, and then you move the decimal point over 2 spaces over, and I'm left with 125% as my answer. Is that true? The answer is yes. You can have percentages higher than 100. So it's okay, don't flip out if you see 125%. You might see 200 or maybe even 300%. You never know. What if I gave you this example, 0.057, right? You do the same steps, 0.057 times 100%, which is equal to 0.057. You move the decimal point over twice, and you're left with 5.7% as your final answer. What about this one? 0.08875. Excuse me. So then you do the same step, 0.08875 times 100%. Well, sorry, 100%. 0.08875, you move the decimal point over how many times? 2 times. 1, 2, I'm left with 8.875% as my answer. Fun fact, that number there is the New York State tax rate, or the sales tax rate, I should say. So anytime you wanna multiply something, you know this number is the number you multiply by on whatever it is that you're gonna buy something. So cool part is we are gonna talk about that later, not now, but pretty soon. We're gonna talk about sales tax and all these other things. One more example. Let's talk about what happens if I gave you 0.6 as my answer. Not as my answer, as my question, duh. What is that? Some of you might just say, well, that's just 6%. I say that's 6%. My answer to that is no. Definitely not 6%. You want to do the same methodology I told you before, times 100%, and then you'd get, let's see, what do I get? 0.6. I move the decimal point over once, twice. So then you might say to yourself, but there's nothing there. What am I going to put there? Well, then you just simply put the thing you know that goes in nothing, which is 0, and your percent symbol. So it's 60%. So it's not 6, but 60%. So that's a pretty, 0.6 is a pretty big number. So that same goes for these two. Real quickly, you know 0.4 would be 40% and 0.3 would be 30%. So let me give you your homework problem. I want you to figure out what 0.0012 is as a percentage. So turn this decimal into a percentage, okay? So that's the lesson for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Mash that bell button, guys. We really need you guys to mash the bell button for more content. And I'll see you guys next time with another video. This has been Absolute 5. I'm Roger Palomino. Math is infinite because there are infinitely many possibilities. And don't forget, don't hate, calculate.